Welcome back to the Make a Baby podcast. This is What is Fertility Reiki series, part 5. This episode, we're going into high vibe fertility, elevating your consciousness for conceiving your spirit baby. We're going to dive into what is consciousness, what is vibration, what is ego, and what is intuition, because it all goes together. So, this episode, before we dive in, I want to know how you're loving this series. Drop me a voice note on Instagram, the Carolina Sotomayor. I want to know your thoughts and feelings about this episode and any questions that come up for you. And don't forget to, on Apple Podcast, while you have the app open, to leave us a 5-star rating and review. I'm so grateful for all of your support, especially with this series, breaking down what is fertility Reiki. So the first question is, what is vibration? So we all know, the party we've gone to or the dinner party where we've walked in and somebody has been arguing. That the feeling or the vibe of the room is off. You can feel the tension of the room. So the vibe is the energy that you can feel in an environment or from a person, a thing, a place. And that's essentially it. It's like, what is your body receiving from an external thing, whether that's a person, a place, or a thing? Or maybe it's an animal. That can be a thing too. Or maybe it's a program. What's the vibe? Even of a website. What's your vibe? What's your overall impression, perception, feeling? Maybe it's an interaction. But a vibe in short term is basically, what are you feeling? What are you receiving? An energy, an emotion from the thing or the person. So you can have, is it a positive vibe? Is it a negative vibe? Like, sometimes I don't like people. I'm like, no, that's not it. That's not the vibe. Could be in somebody's comment section and be like, no, a person was an ass. Or maybe I interact with someone at Target. I'm like, no, thank you. Or if I don't know, if you're out on a date and somebody doesn't tip them well. I don't like cheap people. I don't like people who tip very, very little. I don't think that's nice. That's not my vibe. I want to be generous. The servers were probably busting their butts. So what is the vibe? What is the perception that you felt by another person? Is it a relaxed vibe? Is it a peaceful vibe? Is it a high vibe? Did it make you feel like super blissful and elated? And you're like, yes, 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 I want more of this. What's high vibe? Yeah. So let's talk about what is high vibe. And that's basically enthusiasm, happiness, vibrancy. It's positive energy. It's also can be when you feel motivated and grateful and optimistic and you're connected to other people and connected to yourself. You feel blissful. That's my favorite word. That can be essentially a feeling or state of feeling high vibe. So, how do you reach a high vibe? You can do that through engaging with people that you really love or give you feelings of that make you feel those things. Creative activities, always get a hobby. Surrounding yourself with nature, meditation, exercise. I love to dance. I like to shake my booty. I love bachata, salsa, merengue. I'm Hispanic, so yeah, I love me some Celia Cruz, some old school Celia Cruz. I don't salsa very well, but I can bachata and merengue better. No, not saying I'm very good, but I do it in the comfort of my house. Do whatever makes you happy. Can you be high vibe all of the time, like as a constant state? No, because you're never something all of the time. Those are irrational words, like never or always. You're never always something. It never is there's never ever anything. Like, for example, I'm not always happy. I can be happy, and I can also be angry. I could also be sad. So you're not going to be high vibe all the time. You can, I'd say 80-20. You can shoot for that. Like 80% of you're going to be high vibe, and 20% you're going to be like, it was a good day. It was okay. Or she really pissed me off, or, that sucked. Life is life. You have ebbs and flows. So your energy is going to ebb and flow because you're freaking human. It is impossible, and life is not Pinterest. And it's not what you see of the Joneses, the Smiths, or the Kennedys on, or whomever you're following on Instagram. And it's not, it's you get to decide what high vibe is for you. And what makes you feel high vibe is going to be so different at different ages, different seasons, different phases of motherhood. I can tell you at almost 41, what makes me happy and gives me a high vibe feeling is not what it was when I turned 30. When I turned 30, I just met my husband. I had 2 horses, 2 cats. I lived in a really cute apartment. I worked in a manufacturing plant. I thought I was the shit. Nobody could tell me anything. I was the shit. And let me tell you, I was so good at what I did. I also was so full of it. I was so masculine and was leading with a masculine, and I was not grounded, but I was grounded. I found groundedness in the things that brought me joy. I did have a lot of joy, but what brings me high vibe now is having nothing to do on a Saturday day other than my son's soccer team. High vibe is I'm making a new friend. That brings me so much joy. I love seeing how the things my son is exposing me to, like, I am healing my child to parent relationship with my father, who is no longer here, by being the parent to my son and meeting him where he is at. This is a new discovery that is a wound that's deeper than I had known before. I didn't know I need to heal the concept of a child to parent relationship, even though he had passed. And my son just started soccer. This is new. We're about like 2.5, 3 weeks in. He's had 2 soccer games. I met this amazing woman on the first day, and her name is also Carolina, but with a K. And she's from the Ukraine. She's a refugee. And her little boy is playing with my son on the same team, and she doesn't speak English. And I'm like, not a problem. I downloaded Google Translate, and I had so much fun learning Ukrainian words. And now we talk through Google Translate, and now I text her, and I look forward to seeing this new friend. I have so much in common with her. We only communicate through Google Translate and the few words I'm learning in Ukrainian and the few words she knows of English. But I can tell you it's a high vibe because I smile so hard that my face hurts when I'm around her. And she's a happy person. And her son is so sweet. And it is very evident in the energy between us and our sons that it's high vibe because it can be felt. Not all things that are invisible. How do I put this? Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not real, but you can feel it. And a lot of the best things in this world can't be seen, but they certainly can be felt. You can't see God. You can't see gravity, but we're super glad that they're there. So the high vibe can be felt, and so can a low vibe. So something that I was unexpected in my life. I didn't expect to make a friend when I went to the soccer practice. I was expecting having to sit on a bench, and it would be cold and it would be long and dreary. And I just thought I would be sitting there with my husband. But no, I made a friend. And I'm so excited to go. And now my son has a new friend and my husband's excited. He goes, "What did you guys talk about? What did you learn about Ukraine?" And it's super fun. It's brought in more joy. So if you can find joy, you can find a high vibe, because I'm all about the joy. Where can you get more joy? And I prayed a long time ago to bring in more friends that would bring me more joy. I didn't know what kind of friend it would be or where they would show up. But let me tell you, God always delivers for me. The universe always delivers for me. But if you can find joy, you can find high vibe. And so ask the universe for more places, things, opportunities for you to experience more high vibe or joy, and see what happens. I bet it's going to be the best game you've ever played. Okay. What is consciousness? So this is really important to understand, that being high vibe is a state. It can be an attitude or even like a state of being that you want to be, but it's not the same as consciousness. And I think that these words get thrown around. So let's dive into what consciousness is and is not. So consciousness is being awake to what is around you and being really honest about it. Am I in a good marriage? My marriage is not the problem. Maybe it's me. Like being self-aware and being able to observe around you what is happening. Or so and so did XYZ and it had a negative effect on our home. Like, what is really the circumstances around you, and taking note and inventory of that. You're going to be able to look at your past, present, and future and think about your thoughts and feelings. You can't have consciousness if you're disconnected from yourself, don't have a relationship with yourself, and you're not willing to look at oneself or feel your feelings. Well, consciousness also has ability to problem solve, has reasoning, and you have memories. Also has the ability to experience emotion like fear, love, joy, sadness, and anger. If you can't experience your emotions, feel your emotions, you can't have consciousness. So it's really important to understand that consciousness can be developed. And it's super important that you feel your emotions so you can realize what you're feeling. So you can realize what you are dealing with. So then you can look at the past. What are the lessons to be learned there? What is the present? What are the patterns currently? And what do I want in the future? So you can think about, what do you want differently? What do you want to cultivate? And what do you want more of? Consciousness is that habit, that cultivation. It is a skill to be learned and practiced and strengthened. What is ego? Our ego is our subconscious that is meant to keep us safe and in a box and limited. What is intuition is the next question. Our intuition will expand us past that limitation and make us go further and further and help us reach our dreams. It will expand us to more than what our ego will want. And we can experience thing called ego death. So like right when you're about to have a breakthrough and you're going to the next level of, like, especially with like belief breaking, like if you're like, I am limitless, I am powerful, and like you've always given away your power, or you found safety in being quiet, and now you're saying, I'm a great communicator, I'm going to speak up for what I want and what my spirit baby needs from me, and I'm going to advocate for myself. Right before you're about to have that breakthrough, the ego is going to be like, no, we're going to have a freak out moment, and we're going to wreak havoc on your nervous system. And you're going to feel like the world is crumbling, that you're going to feel like, who am I? What am I doing? Almost like an existential crisis. And that essentially what you're feeling is called an ego death. And that is where it's the last ditch effort that your ego is going to give before it finally allows that limiting belief to die. And the new expansive belief that your intuition has been working so hard to implant is going to replace that old one. And now that's your new limit. So it is about expanding more and more, so that in trusting your intuition more and more, so your ego is not so prominent and your intuition is. Ego exists within you. It is like light and dark. Light cannot exist without dark. Intuition cannot exist without ego. When I say ego, I just gave you the definition. It is not you being egotistical or overbearing or any of those things. Ego is a thing, and intuition is a thing, and they exist within you. So like I said, light and dark exist, just like intuition and ego exist. So with ego, it is there for a purpose. Just like, don't jump off that bridge, don't jump into traffic. It's meant to keep you safe. So your ego is especially more prominent with keeping you exactly where you are, because that's what safety has been wrapped up in. So we have to replace beliefs that are limiting with new ones so that we can move forward with. If you don't replace old limiting beliefs, you're just going to stay in the same place. So that's why it's really important in this work. We want to know where you want to move to. So, and where are you coming from, so that we can replace old with new. Okay, so why is it important to be high vibe in fertility and pregnancy? Because if you are finding joy and you're being high vibe, your womb is probably open, because that also means you're feeling. If you're feeling safe enough to experience your emotions and you're feeling your emotions completely the whole way through, that also means you're going to be more inclined to speak up, share your emotions, advocate for yourself. You're going to have reduced stress, because if you're being high vibe and experiencing joy and you're laughing, that also means you're going to change your decisions. You're going to change the people that you're hanging out with. You're going to hang out with the people who are bringing you more joy. You also might be making different decisions. So you're like, I want more of this. So maybe you're changing careers, or maybe you're getting more jobs that, or if you're like a freelancer, you're taking on more clients that are more aligned for you, that bring you more joy. Let's see here. Also, with reduced stress, that means that also your menstrual cycle and your ovulation are probably going to be more timely. That means that your follicles and your nervous system are probably going to be more regulated. And that means that also your hormones could be more balanced. So that's going to improve your reproductive health. It's also probably, the happier version you are usually means the happier relationships are going to be. That means just not in your partnerships or your marriages, but also like your co-working relationships or your friendships. And anyone that doesn't want to see you shine or is not obviously becoming happier with you, it's time to get rid of them. They should be happier with you. The happier I am, the happier my household is. And if it was the opposite way, we would need to be having some conversations, because that means that the dynamic has switched and something needs to be addressed or corrected. Optimism and resilience. You're going to be more resilient if something does happen, because you're already up here. So something that's a lower vibration event that happens, you're going to be like, I can cope with this. I can deal with this. I can get through this, and everything's going to be okay. So, yeah, high vibe, you can't be high vibe all the time, but having consciousness, and being aware, that comes with healing, that comes with feeling your emotions. And that's really important to understand that you are going to have ego. But the more healed you are, the more you can listen to your intuition, and the more high vibe you can become, and the more consciousness you will have. The value of having a higher consciousness is perception and how you see things and how you can move through things, along with that core belief system. I would love to know what you consider to be high vibe, or what kind of vibe do you want in your fertility and pregnancy and postpartum. Shoot me a voice note at the Carolina Sotomayor on Instagram. Until the next episode, let the Ricky flow.
Frustrated being told you are fine by your doctor, exhausted from negative pregnancy tests every month, wanting a deeper connection on your fertility journey with your spirit baby? The Make a Baby membership is exactly what you need. Using Reiki will help you connect to your spirit baby, heal the trapped emotions blocking fertility, and support you in our life-changing community. With over 90 Reiki babies, we invite you to try the Make a Baby membership for free. Check it out in the show notes. Let's get you pregnant.